It started with the hum, low, distant, and almost mechanical, like the sound of electricity bleeding through walls. It wasn't loud, but once you noticed it, you couldn't ignore it. The people of Ridgeway Lane had lived in silence for years, but lately, that hum never stopped. Maya Bennett, a freelance photographer, first heard it the night she moved into the old Carter house. It was supposed to be her escape, a quiet place to rebuild after her mother's passing. The house was centuries old, yet charming, with ivy crawling up its stone walls and an attic full of dust-covered memories. Her realtor had smiled too widely when she signed the lease, as though relieved to hand it off. At first, Maya thought the hum came from the old wiring, but when she unplugged everything, it was still there, steady, rhythmic, like a pulse coming from beneath the floorboards. The neighbors weren't much help. An old man across the street, Mr. Dempsey, warned her not to stay out past dusk. "The lane changes after dark," he muttered. His cloudy eyes lingered on her longer than comfort allowed. "Best you keep the lights low." Maya laughed it off at first. But that night, as the wind brushed against the attic windows, she felt something shift. The house seemed to breathe. The hum grew louder, vibrating through her bones. Unable to sleep, she grabbed her camera and went exploring, snapping photos of the hallways, the cellar door, the cracked wallpaper that peeled like old skin. Through her lens, everything looked ordinary. But when she checked the photos later, she noticed something strange. In every picture, there was a shadow behind her. Not a shape she recognized. Tall, crooked, almost human, but wrong. It loomed just at the edge of focus, as though watching. The following evening, Maya invited her best friend Alex to visit. He was a sound engineer and skeptic by nature. "Probably faulty acoustics," he said, setting up a recorder in the living room. But when he played it back, the hum was joined by something else, a whisper buried under the static. "You shouldn't have come." Maya froze. Alex tried to laugh it off, but his voice cracked. The whisper repeated, slower this time, deeper. Then the lights flickered. The hum surged, shaking the floorboards. The photos on the wall fell in unison, as though struck by an unseen hand. And from somewhere in the house, perhaps the cellar, a faint knock echoed, deliberate and steady. 3 knocks, a pause, then 3 more. Alex turned pale. That wasn't the wind. Maya looked toward the basement door, which now stood slightly open, darkness spilling out like ink. She took one hesitant step forward, camera trembling in her hand. And then, the hum stopped. The following morning, Maya found Alex sitting on the porch, staring at nothing. His recorder lay on the table, still running, though the tape had long ended. He hadn't slept. "I heard it again," he whispered. "That voice. It said my name this time." Maya tried to laugh, but it came out hollow. She hadn't told him about the dream, the one where she stood in the basement, camera flashing endlessly as something crawled closer in the dark. Each flash revealed less of the creature, until all that remained were its eyes. They decided to check the cellar that afternoon. The air was damp, thick with rot. Strange symbols were scratched into the beams, faint but deliberate. Circles, crossed lines, a pattern that seemed to pulse when light touched it. "Old owners must have been into weird stuff," Alex muttered, though his voice wavered. Maya nodded, but deep down she remembered something. Her mother's last words before she died. Don't go back to Ridgeway. She had assumed it was delirium. Now she wasn't sure. Days passed and the house began to change. Doors creaked open on their own. The hum returned, softer but constant, almost like it was inside their heads. Maya started hearing faint crying at night. Alex said it was the pipes, but when she asked why he kept covering the mirrors with sheets, he didn't answer. They both felt watched. Shadows stretched too far. Reflections lingered a second too long. Each time Maya looked through her camera lens, she saw movement. Something behind her, closer than before. She wanted to leave. But every time she packed her bags, the lights flickered and the hum rose again. Like the house itself was warning her, "You can leave when I'm done with you." By the third night, sleep had become a rumor. Maya and Alex barely spoke, both trapped in their own unease. The air inside the Carter house felt heavier now, as if something unseen pressed against the walls, breathing with them. When the knocks began again, Maya didn't move. She just listened. 3 knocks, silence, then 3 more. Always at the same hour, 3:15 a.m. Alex had started keeping a log, trying to rationalize it all. "It's infrasound," he insisted. "Low frequencies can cause hallucinations." But his notes grew frantic, scribbled phrases filling the margins. "It knows when I lie. It listens." On the 4th day, Maya met Mrs. Langford, the old woman who lived 2 houses down. She'd been watching them from her window since they arrived. "You shouldn't be there," she said, voice trembling. "That place was built over the Ridgeway Asylum. They said the basement was once a patient ward. The walls still... Remember." Maya laughed nervously, but Mrs. Langford didn't smile. "You've heard it, haven't you? The hum. That means it's awake again." When Maya returned home, she found Alex sitting in the living room, pale and shaking. Every framed photo on the wall had been turned upside down. The recorder, which he swore he hadn't touched, was playing by itself. From the speaker came whispers overlapping, hundreds of voices all saying the same word, "Stay." That night, the doors slammed shut on their own. The lights flickered in rhythmic pulses matching the hum. Maya grabbed her camera and began filming, desperate for proof. The footage captured the furniture trembling, shadows bending unnaturally, and one unmistakable image, a handprint burned into the wall, larger than any human's. When they watched the playback later, the video glitched halfway through. For 3 seconds, a face appeared behind Maya, not quite human, its mouth open too wide, its eyes reflecting static. Alex turned the laptop off, shaking. "This isn't real. It's just stress," he whispered. But Maya noticed something, a message scrawled faintly in the condensation of the window behind him. "You found what she hid?" Maya's heart stopped. "What? Who hid?" she murmured. The floorboards creaked in response, one slow step after another, moving toward the cellar. They followed the sound down into the darkness, the hum vibrating in their skulls. The cellar door slammed behind them. The single light bulb flickered to life, revealing a section of the wall that had been freshly disturbed. Someone had dug there, recently. Alex reached out and brushed away the loose dirt. Beneath it, half buried, was a wooden box. Inside, wrapped in yellowed newspaper, was a photo of Maya's mother standing in the very same house. On the back, in shaky handwriting, were 5 words that made her blood run cold. "It starts when she returns." The moment Maya touched the photograph, the hum roared to life. No longer distant, but deafening, vibrating through the floor and walls like a heartbeat gone mad. Dust fell from the ceiling as the lights burst, plunging the cellar into darkness. "Maya, drop it!" Alex shouted, but the photo clung to her palm, hot against her skin. She could feel something beneath it, like a pulse, steady and alive. Then the whisper came, faint at first, but close. "Welcome home." Maya froze. The voice was her mother's. The cellar door above them slammed shut again. They were trapped. Alex pounded against the wood, shouting, but every word echoed wrong, like the house was mimicking him a second too late. The walls seemed to close in, the wooden beams shifting, groaning, breathing. "Alex," Maya whispered. "We have to dig, whatever this house wants. It's here." They clawed at the dirt where the box had been buried. Beneath the soil, Maya's fingers brushed against something smooth, a tile, carved with the same symbols they'd seen before. As she pulled it free, the hum stopped again. Silence. Then, a single sound. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming down the stairs. Alex backed away, flashlight trembling. "There's no one up there," he whispered. But the steps kept coming. Dust drifted with each thud. A shadow stretched down the wall, impossibly tall, bending and shifting like liquid. Maya pressed herself against the wall, clutching the tile. "It's not real," she told herself. But then, from behind Alex, another whisper rose. This one a perfect imitation of her own voice. "Run." He turned too slowly. The light flickered, and for one heartbeat, the darkness had form. A figure stood behind him, its face blank but shifting, as if made of every shadow in the room. It reached out, and Alex screamed as the light shattered completely. When Maya found him again, he was on the floor, gasping, eyes wide open but seeing nothing. His skin was ice cold. "What did it do to you?" she cried. He blinked once, lips moving soundlessly before a hoarse whisper escaped. "It showed me you." Then his expression changed, a hollow calm. He smiled, eerily serene. "She's waiting, Maya, downstairs." "But we're already downstairs," she whispered. He looked past her, eyes unfocused. Not far enough. The hum rose again, louder than ever, shaking the foundations of the house. From the cracks in the wall, black liquid began to seep, thick, tar-like, crawling upward instead of down. Maya stumbled back, clutching her camera, snapping photo after photo just to have light. With each flash, the shadows moved closer, until one of them wasn't a shadow anymore. A hand reached out from the dark and pressed against her face, cold, real, breathing, and then a voice right against her ear whispering her name. "Maya, it's time you remember." Maya awoke on the cellar floor, her breath clouding in the cold air. The hum was gone. The silence was worse. Alex sat a few feet away, motionless, staring at the dirt wall. His skin looked gray in the dim light. For a moment, she thought he was dead, until he whispered, "She's here." Maya's camera still dangled around her neck. She turned it on, desperate for light. The flash illuminated the wall, and what she saw made her blood run cold. There were photographs, dozens of them, pinned and nailed into the beams. Each one was of her, some from her childhood, others recent, even one from this morning, as she slept. "Alex," she whispered, "did you—" He turned toward her slowly, his eyes hollow, black veins creeping up his neck. "You were never supposed to come back," he said. His voice wasn't his anymore, layered, as if two people were speaking through him. Maya stumbled back, heart racing. "What are you talking about?" He smiled faintly, the expression twisting unnaturally. "She made me remember. The house remembers everything." The walls groaned, and from somewhere deep beneath them, a low rumble shook the floor. The pinned photographs fluttered like trapped birds. Suddenly, Maya remembered something. The letter her mother had written before she died. The one she'd never dared to open. She tore open her bag and found it, the paper yellowed and brittle. Her hands shook as she read. "Maya, if you ever find this, know that the house isn't haunted by what died there. It's haunted by what it kept alive. We were part of it. I ran, but it never stopped calling me back. You were born there. You belong to it." Her throat tightened. "No," she whispered. "That's not possible." Alex's voice came again, deeper now, echoing off the walls. "It's why it called you home. You aren't the victim, Maya. You're the door." The lights flickered back on for a split second, and in that flash, she saw it. The walls were covered in moving shapes, outlines of faces, hands pressing out from the inside, all mouthing the same word. "Return." Maya screamed, stumbling backward as Alex rose to his feet, his eyes completely black. "You opened it," he said. "She's inside you now." The hum began again, louder, piercing, not through the air, but through her mind. Maya fell to her knees, clutching her head as memories flooded back. Her mother chanting, the smell of burning sage, her own childlike voice whispering words she didn't understand. And then she saw it, the truth, flickering like a dying flame. Her mother hadn't been trying to escape the haunting. She had been trying to contain it, inside Maya. Now the containment was breaking. Alex's face twisted with terror as shadows spread from Maya's body like ink in water. "Maya," he gasped, "you're becoming—" The lights went out. A whisper filled the dark, unmistakably hers. "It starts from me." The storm outside mirrored the chaos inside the Carter house. Wind howled through shattered windows, carrying the scent of rain and decay. The walls pulsed like veins, alive, throbbing with the hum that now roared through every corner. Maya stood in the cellar doorway, trembling. The shadows around her writhed, reaching out like tendrils. Her camera hung from her neck, the the flash flickering on its own, strobing fragments of reality, faces appearing, vanishing, whispering her name. "Stop!" she screamed, pressing her palms to her ears. "You're not real!" But they were. The house was alive, and every wall, every beam, every breath was part of her now. Alex lay crumpled near the base of the stairs, barely conscious. His voice was weak. "You have to end it. It's inside you. That's why it won't die." The truth crashed over her like cold water. The haunting wasn't something she could escape. It was her. The spirit, the hum, the voices, all fragments of what her mother had bound within her when she was a child. She fell to her knees, sobbing. "How do I stop it?" From the darkness came her mother's voice, soft but close. "Finish what I couldn't." The ground split, revealing a narrow pit beneath the cellar, a hollow cavity lined with symbols glowing faintly red. In its center lay an ancient mirror, fractured but pulsing with the same rhythm as her heart. Maya stumbled toward it, every step heavier than the last. As she peered into the glass, her reflection blinked. But she hadn't. The version of herself in the mirror smiled. "You see it now," the reflection whispered. "The house isn't haunted by me, it's haunted by you." The mirror rippled like water, and hands shot out, her own hands, dragging her toward the glass. She screamed, gripping the floor, nails digging into the wood. The cellar shook violently. The lights exploded overhead. "Maya!" Alex shouted, forcing himself up. He grabbed her arm, pulling with all his strength. For a moment, he almost freed her, until the hum rose to a blinding crescendo, and the reflection screamed with her voice. "Let me go!" she cried. Alex hesitated. Her eyes had changed. Black, endless, consuming. "I'm not sure which one of you I'm saving," he whispered. The reflection's grin widened. "You're too late." With one final pull, the mirror shattered. Silence. Maya collapsed beside the shards, gasping for air. The hum was gone. The walls stopped moving. The shadows faded. Alex knelt beside her, relief breaking through his fear. "It's over," he said. But Maya didn't answer. Slowly, she turned her head toward him, her reflection gleaming faintly in the broken glass beside them. And then, in perfect unison, both Mayas smiled. The lights flickered once, and the hum began again. When dawn finally broke over Ridgeway Lane, the Carter house stood silent for the first time in centuries. The storm had passed, but the air was heavy, thick with the memory of screams that no one else had heard. Maya sat in the doorway, the gray light washing over her pale face. Her clothes were torn, her hands streaked with blood and dust. Around her lay fragments of the shattered mirror, each shard reflecting a slightly different version of her expression, some calm, some crying, one smiling faintly, as if it knew something she didn't. Alex stirred beside her, alive but shaken. "Is it over?" he whispered. Maya didn't answer at first. She just stared into one of the mirror shards, watching it tremble in her palm. "I don't hear the hum anymore," she said softly. "But that doesn't mean it's gone." They left the house without looking back. As they stepped outside, the first rays of sunlight touched the roof, and for a moment, the old stone walls seemed to sigh, almost in relief. The town of Ridgeway welcomed no one that morning. Mrs. Langford's window remained closed. The birds avoided the trees that bordered the property. It was as though the world itself had agreed to pretend the house never existed. Weeks passed. Maya and Alex both moved away, their friendship reduced to silence. He refused to talk about that night, about the mirror, the voice, or the moment her eyes had gone completely black. But sometimes, when his apartment went quiet, he swore he could still hear a faint hum behind the walls. Maya tried to start over. New town, new name. She stopped taking photographs, taking. But even then, strange things followed. Her reflection would blink when she didn't. The hum returned whenever she turned off the lights. And sometimes, late at night, she'd dream of the cellar, of the mirror still lying there, whole again, waiting. In those dreams, her mother stood beside her. "You broke the mirror," she'd whisper, "but you didn't break the connection." Maya would wake up trembling, unsure if she was still herself. The Carter house was eventually torn down after a mysterious fire consumed what was left of it. No remains were found, no origin determined. Locals said the fire burned from the inside out. But when the ashes cooled, something strange was discovered in the foundation. A single photograph, untouched by flame. It showed a woman standing in the ruins, her back to the camera. On the back, in shaky handwriting, were 5 familiar words. "It starts from here again."